Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Storm, and picking up where I left off last time, episode 2 of Brotherhood, Final Fantasy 15. This episode starts off kind of a trilogy of sorts where we focus more so on how Noctis formed his friendships with Prompto, Gladiolus, and Ignis. This episode focuses on Prompto himself. It's mostly, well, they're all flashbacks, really, but this particular flashback goes back to, I guess, middle school, as I'm guessing it is. Back then, Prompto was a very shy, introverted kid. Had quite a bit of weight to him. Mostly kept to himself. Focused on his camera a lot. We took pictures of animals, which ties into the beginning of the episode. They're all Well, Prompto was driving the car, and even though Ignis is kind of pestering him on turning the radio off to kind of quell the atmosphere that they're in right now, and trying to get Prompto to pay attention to the road. He is, and thankfully he is, because at the last second he swerves out of the way and avoids hitting a small puppy. And afterwards, Prompto jumps out the car, examines the puppy, and learns that he's somewhat injured. There's a thorn in his leg, and there's quite a bit of bleeding. Prompto gets the first aid kit and fixes him, and that's kind of where we go into the flashback from there. We see, as a kid, Noctis very much a loner as a child. Again, middle school, I think. It could have been elementary school, honestly. It could have been late elementary school, 5th or 6th grade, maybe. Noctis, very much a loner even back then. You know, you have all the kids crowding around him because he's the prince. He's so cool and mysterious. We don't know much about him. And to kind of get away from everyone, he just kind of says he has to go to the bathroom and just walks off from there. Prompto, watching from the side, from distance a bit, I wouldn't say he's in awe of Noctis at this point, but I guess you could say he's kind of impressed by him. He is the prince. He has people kind of fawning over him, and Noctis kind of plays it off real cool, like he doesn't really care. And he kind of doesn't. I mean, he does, but he doesn't. I mean, very clearly, the people who are trying to get to know him sort of trying to get to know him for superficial reasons, I think. And that's something Noctis doesn't really care about. And Prompto, I guess, is sort of impressed by that. He at least takes notice of it. That everyone's talking to Noctis, and Noctis kind of just blows them off and leaves somewhere else. So, as he's coming home one day, Prompto runs across a small little puppy, this white little puppy that's injured, which is where the flashback comes from. The puppy that Prompto takes care of presently as they're driving on their way to the next city, injured his leg, and that's what makes Prompto think to the past, which is where we get the flashback from. The puppy he finds outside of his childhood home is injured. It's the leg again, or for the first time, really. So Prompto takes the animal inside, takes the little puppy inside, fixes his leg, and decides to put up some lost dog posters. For the time being, he takes care of Tiny, he calls him, or Chibi, if you want to go by the Japanese name. It doesn't matter. He takes care of the little puppy and is liking it. You know, he has a little small friend of his own that he can play around with. And all the while, still taking notice of Noctis every now and then. Fortunately or unfortunately for Prompto, the puppy gets away. Tiny somehow escapes his house and finds his way back to his owner, who turns out to be Luna. Luna has 2 dogs, 2 little puppies, Umbra, and as the puppy's actual name is, that Prompto found, Pryna, Pryna, according to the subs. After finding Pryna, after Pryna comes back, Luna notices that he has a little scarf on his leg where the injury was. It's the little scarf that Prompto used to fix the leg, to bandage the injury, has his name on it, some handkerchief that he had. So they search out his name, and Luna writes a letter to him, to Prompto, and sends it to his house directly to thank him personally for finding Pryna and taking care of him. She tells Prompto in the letter that she actually sent Pryna to go see Noctis, but I guess somehow he got hurt and ended up in front of Prompto's house. Upon hearing this, I mean, upon hearing that the puppy was sent for Noctis, and that Luna had assumed that Prompto was somehow a friend of Noctis, which is why he took care of the puppy in the first place. Prompto, I guess he uses this as a big confidence boost for himself. Luna thinks that he's friends with Noctis, and like I said before, Noctis Prompto kind of took notice of Noctis before, kind of. Again, not in awe of him. He's not standing there like fanboying over him, but takes notice of Noctis in the way that people act around him and how he acts towards them. So, upon hearing that Luna thinks that they're friends and wants Prompto to kind of look after him as a friend would, Prompto decides to do this. He wants to he during school one day, he goes he searches out Noctis and tries to befriend him that way. Tries to say hi to him and everything, but he accidentally trips over a couple of the traffic cones, a bar separating a couple of traffic cones. And when Noctis helps him up, Noctis kind of inadvertently just calls him heavy before trying to lift him up from the ground. Prompto, that kind of hits him, It kind of makes him think, if I want to be friends with this guy, I can't be this. I can't be this kind of chubby kid. Noctis is the prince. He's popular. People look up to him. And I'm, this middle class kid. Got some weight on me. No one knows who I am. No one talks to me. I don't talk to them. I can't be this guy. I have to make myself a little better for him. So, before he becomes friends with Noctis, Prompto decides that he wants to lose the weight, to make himself more presentable. So he does that. The next part of the episode is a big montage of Prompto working hard as fuck to lose the weight that he has. He does the whole picture a day thing where he takes off his shirt and strips down to his boxers, takes a picture of himself, and does that every single day. Even he does it every single day, and runs every single day. Puts himself on a diet, even asks some of the kids in his class some tips for running. So, for I don't know how many years, possibly way through until high school, I assume, or possibly college, because it's possible. High school or college, Prompto, exercises every single day, puts himself on a diet, and all the while kind of sort of stalking Noctis in a way. Again, as a confidence boost, he looks at Noctis and thinks, so close, just a bit more, and I can finally be friends with this guy. I can finally be the presentable guy that I personally want to be to this guy who's so cool and respected. And that's what that really is. That really is an aspiration that he's working for. I mentioned in the last video I did about the first episode that way back when, Tetsuya Nomura had noted that Prompto, it has something of an inferiority complex, not a major crushing one, but in a way that he feels inferior to Noctis because Noctis is the prince, he's royalty, and Prompto is not. He's unlike. Well, I think it's more so to Noctis. I would assume that Ignis and Gladiolus are in the same kind of basket. They're all from the upper crust society of Insomnia. Ignis is Noctis's personal advisor. Gladiolus was his trainer, and Prompto was none of those things. He has no connection to any sort of nobility or royalty, so he feels inferior to Noctis, at least in that sense. And this kind of does show in this episode how before he can be actual friends with Noctis, Prompto wants to be presentable. He wants to be the kind of person who can stand shoulder to shoulder with the prince and maybe not be ridiculed in such a way, So he watches Noctis from the distance for years as a confidence boost, just again thinking, I'm close, I'm almost there. That's the goal right there. That guy right there is my goal, to be friends with him, to be good enough to be friends with him. He also takes the letter that Luna sent him. When he opened the letter for the first time, there was a nice perfume wafting from it. He kind of smelled that for a bit, and then read the letter. He realized, so some mysterious woman sent me this. That makes sense. So I get that. So again, trying to live up to to be presentable for Noctis and trying to live up to the expectations that Luna had assumed of him. He uses both of those as confidence boosts, and he keeps the letter that Luna gave him. I hope that he read it again a few times, because what we see that he does with the letter, he keeps it in a safe space, and kind of smells the perfume coming off of it a few more times, which is very strange. Yeah, it's nice perfume, comes from a pretty lady. But then again, for all Prompto never heard of Luna. For all he knows, Luna's an Uggo, and she just happened to have nice smelling perfume around for the letter. Kind of creepy, kind of weird. I mean, if I had to choose, I'm going for a tangent for a second though. But personally, again, judging from the demo that I played, I would definitely ship Prompto and Sydney. I think I said this before. I don't remember. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. Prompto and Sydney. Prompto seemed to have kind of a crush on Sydney, so I'm in that camp right there. But again, he's a middle school kid, and some girl is giving him some sort of attention, so maybe he's doing that, just kind of going on that. Not that it really matters, but anyway, as the years pass, Prompto's work does him good. By the time I suppose maybe the first day of high school, or maybe some year of high school anyway, Prompto is finally at the level he wants to be. And once again, all the girls around the school are fawning over Noctis. They see him standing by his lonesome, just contemplating life, I suppose. Walks off, and as he's making his way to class or to break or to wherever, Prompto finally works up the guts to run up to him, kind of stop him in the back in a friendly manner, and introduce himself. And I think the best part of the episode was the fact that after he introduced himself, Noctis recognized him. I don't know if maybe it was a combination of maybe Noctis has a good memory, or maybe if he actually does remember, and maybe he noticed Prompto kind of watching him from afar, and again, like I said, taking that as inspiration to work himself even harder, because he didn't notice Prompto at least once walking away from people watching him, and then another point in time, Noctis kind of expected to see him again. So it probably is that just no, I think it has to be both though. It has to be because Noctis helped him off the ground that one time. And again, Prompto was a big chubby kid back then, glasses and kind of, so that's something you probably remember. You probably won't forget that too quickly. And then again, Noctis noticed Prompto kind of walking away from the area one time, and it kind of expected to see him again at least one other time. So he did remember him, and I think for the better, Noctis didn't take that as some sort of weird stalkery thing, like all that time. It's kind of funny. After Noctis helped Prompto off the ground, and Prompto was thinking back to the letter that Luna had sent him, how she assumed that they were friends. Prompto had made the decision to be friends, and it's just what he said in the episode. When he thought about it, like, you know what? We will be friends. We're gonna be friends, Noctis, whether you like it or not. And it's just you take that into context. That what he said, we will be friends, kind of forcibly to himself, mind you. Noctis had left a while ago, and the whole sort of kind of watching him from afar sort of thing that could have been very stalkery. Thankfully, it wasn't. It wasn't malicious in any sense, and Noctis did take it in stride. When Prompto introduced himself, and Noctis was kind of thought, "Don't I know you?" And and he said it with a smile. He said it with a genuine smile, with genuine intentions, and that could have been the best thing possible for Prompto. To know that Noctis recognized kind of the hard work he put into himself to lose the weight, to make himself presentable to a prince. So, after that, they walked to class together, and Noctis kind of gave him a slap on the back in return in a friendly manner. And right there, that solidified their friendship. And again, this is way back when, possibly during Versus 13, obviously. But Tessina Moore did at one point say that Prompto was a bad influence on Noctis. And judging by the episode, it wasn't until I watched this episode again that I kind of figured out the character dynamic between the four of them. Prompto is, he's the lively one. He's the jokester of the group. He's the one who, he's the bright spot, I think. Try and look on the good side of things. Probably in a way a little more sensitive than even Noctis himself, but the way he admires animals and cares for them. Ignis is kind of stern. He's the voice of reason. Like I said, he is Noctis's personal counsel, the guy who advises him and everything. Gladiolus is the laid back kind of guy. He's the muscle of the group. He has good shoulder. He is just as good as head and shoulders as anyone else, but again, he's laid back with it. He's sort of the support of the group. And then Noctis is the main character. He is the hero. I suppose in a way because he's the prince, he is the glue that holds the entire group together. Not only for the course of the game and story itself, but just as their friend, as that dynamic. Yeah. It's and the way that I think Prompto inserts himself into the group so easily. I think that's sort of what Tessina Moore was getting at. Bad influence in the idea that Prompto is sort of lively. He doesn't have the same mindset that someone from a family of nobility or royalty would have. I think in that sense he was kind of talking about bad influence. I think it's actually a good influence though. Noctis has a friend who doesn't really care about his status as a prince, who cares about Noctis as a person, and that's really what he wanted. All the kids and all the girls kind of fawning over him because he's the prince. And there's this guy who comes around like, yeah, you're the prince. That's cool and everything. Don't get me wrong, but I like you. I don't like the prince. I like you, Noctis. And that's really what Noctis needs in his life. That's a big thing he needs. Gladiolus and Ignis still treat him as the prince. They treat him as a friend, yes. They are all friends. But they also treat Noctis by his royal station, and that's something that Prompto doesn't do much. I mean, respect the station, obviously. Respects the title and the rank. Prompto does respect Noctis for being the prince. He does respect his situation. But first and foremost, Noctis is Noctis to Prompto. He's his friend. He's not the prince. And I think, again, that's what Nomura was getting at, and I think that's very good. That Noctis has someone like that in his life. I said before, I really love this anime. I really love the series for it. I love they could do more of this. Like, maybe even more episodes that take place before the events of Final Fantasy 15, or maybe events that take place after the game is over. Or maybe it does like for all the series, for all the games in general. Like we have episodes for Final Fantasy 7, maybe Final Fantasy 13 to even flesh that out a little more. Although, do we really need more Final Fantasy 13? We had 3 games and some supplementary material after the fact that really should have been in the game to begin with. It's clusterfuck. I would love an anime series for Final Fantasy 10. Or even 8. Or like, again, any of the games. All of them, really. I would love, 5 episodes each. It doesn't have to be a long series, but 5 episodes each for each game. They all don't have to come out back to back. I mean, maybe it'd be a long time though, wouldn't it? I was gonna say year after year, but that'd be a long time though. 1 year Final Fantasy 1, second year Final Fantasy 2, and onward like that. 5 episodes per year. That'll be a long time though. Or they could just make them all back to back and just release them like a TV series, 1 week after another, one new episode every week. Until they just finally get to the end of it. That'd be cool. I like that. But anyway, great episode. I love fleshing out the relationship between Noctis and the others. And I can't wait to actually watch the rest of the episodes again, honestly. it really makes the world of Final Fantasy 15, the versus epic. I gotta fucking say that more often. It really makes the versus epic that much more believable and that much more real to me. How everyone works together, how everyone talks to each other, just that whole dynamic between them. So that's it. That's it. I just love it so much. Until next episode, I'll talk to you guys later.